Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy, the first gameplay video for Middle-earth Shadow of War has been released, and it is absolutely glorious. I'm gonna take this opportunity to show you the gameplay and some of the details within it that you may have missed, and my thoughts about the whole thing as well. The first thing that we see is the world map, in what I assume is to be the strategic view that displays only the fortresses that are in each region. As we can see in the upper left corner, the name and the level of the fortress is displayed. The region border tells us that Minas Morgul has been conquered, which means that one of my speculations was correct. We will be able to assault Minas Morgul after it gets conquered by Sauron's army. I am slightly confused by this screen though. We see Minas Morgul on the left and a burning fort on the right. The lore section talks about Osgiliath, the City of Stars. If you know the Middle-earth map, then you know that Osgiliath is further left from Minas Morgul, so I assume that the entire region is named Osgiliath. I am not sure, but it seems that once you conquer a region, you will get access to the lore of that particular region, because when switching to the non-conquered region, the enemy fortresses display their overlord instead. We can also notice that each one of these fortresses has a different name and type. Both of the names and types seem to be corresponding to the Middle-earth lore, at least a bit. Nirnen, for example, that is the only fertile land in Mordor, and it is actually called Nirn. The sea that accompanies it is called Nirnen, so I assume that the fortress has its name based on the lake. What do the types of fortresses represent? I wouldn't know, but I assume they give different bonuses to different types of units. In the overlord display on the right, we can see the list of all stronger enemies located within the fortress. One of the names is Blue, meaning that we have managed to use the Nemesis System to infiltrate one of our guys into the fortress, which is very nicely displayed and which should help us take it down. The detailed Overlord display nicely shows the level of the Overlord, his strengths, weaknesses and features. I particularly like the little window that visually shows his abilities. It seems like it is very similar to the first game, but more polished and expanded, as they have said. The classic good guy versus bad guy screen displays our side and level, as well as the enemies. Fun fact, Sere Gost means that the guest is shitting in Croatian.
It's not only our enemies and the world that make the Nemesis System unique, it's also our followers.
Before the battle begins, we can view the allies that will be assisting us in the battle. Each one of these guys has their advantages that can help us take down the fortress in a variety of ways. This tells us that we will be able to focus our recruitment when playing the game and kinda build a force of soldiers with a specific style. It reminds quite a bit of Total War, and choosing to go with 200 trebuchets that can launch 90 kilo projectile over 300 meters. I really didn't expect this style to be used, but when you think about it, it is perfect. The Nemesis system is designed for randomization and personalization of your playthrough. If you are able to recruit allies with the purpose of organizing them into a team and seeing your efforts pay off through fortress sieges, it adds an entire new depth to everything you do. I really don't see another way of doing it other than a battle minigame like we have here, and I hope it does work as it is shown in the video. When confronting the corrupted Uruk, we can see that he can block our attack and curse us. I'm not entirely too sure what the curse does, but it is clear that we must kill the giver of the curse for it to stop. It seems like the conquering is designed to have checkpoints, so you must kill the Uruks guarding each checkpoint to continue to the next part. If we are able to infiltrate into the fortress using an ally, we will have various items within it that will help us conquer it faster. In this video we have seen explosives next to the wall, and I'm curious to see what else will we have depending on the fortress design. The allies can also assist us in the murder of the stronger Uruks within the walls as shown in the video.
spy is also able to help clear the way by sniping enemies. In Shadow of Mordor, the Nemesis System created memorable stories of bloodshed and revenge. In Shadow of War, your followers can create entirely new stories of loyalty, betrayal, rivalry, and even friendship.
Gotcha.
Thanks, Deadeye.
It seems like it would be a great idea to infiltrate using several snipers that can safely kill from a distance and assist us pretty much any time. I really like how these fortresses added a very strategic depth to the game. I am a big fan of strategy games, and it would be nice to see more games applying this kind of gameplay. Having a meaning and reasoning behind your every move is something I consider very valuable in a game. We also see that killing certain enemies will result with new equipment that will improve our stats. I assume the customization will be quite limited because the items can be either common or mythic. However, the new armor that we have can be upgraded or sold. It seems like each skill tree has its own leveling system, so in order to upgrade certain parts of your gear, you'll need to use it and make sure you gain enough experience if you want better stats and upgrades. The fire-breathing machine turns into an actual dragon when destroyed. I didn't expect that, and I sure as shit didn't expect us to be able to actually ride one. I wonder, will we be able to improve the drakes? Maybe give them more power when riding them, or have a drake that we can call at any time? But it seems unlikely. Riding a dragon anywhere seems a bit overpowered. When dominating an Uruk, we have three options: shaming them, which reduces their level, fighting until death, or recruiting them into our crew. It will be interesting to see how the shame works. I assume it will make them try harder to get back up the ranks, but everyone will make it harder. Perhaps once we reacquaint, they will have a bonus of strength from the sheer amount of hate towards us. The recruit option also interests me. Is there a limit at how many can we recruit, and does it raise the possibility of betrayal? It only seems logical that if we have a billion allies, some of them will realize that they're not that important, and then the Dark Lord will take them from us.
Power allows us to dominate the minds of our enemies,
I am your son.
compelling them to join our growing army.
The Overlord battle seems to be the standard boss battle, where you have one super strong enemy and a bunch of smaller guys that will serve as a convenient way of recharging our spirit essence. It seems like this particular session was recorded with very low difficulty to prevent death and keep the gameplay fluid, because it did seem way too easy to kill the Overlord. I know that the hardest difficulties in Shadow of Mordor force the player to dodge and flee and prioritize ranged enemies, so hopefully that is the case here too. There really is no reason not to be. Having allies that help us defeat the Overlord is also a very nice addition. It can really make a big difference, especially with the very strong enemies. If we take care of our allies and make sure they are satisfied, they will surely help us in our battles.
The Overlord defeated, Fort Saragost and this region of Mordor are ours. Conquering the region rewards us with experience, loot, new followers, and resources. It also creates a personal base from which we train our forces, increase our power, and upgrade our defenses against Sauron's...
Conquering a fortress seems to give points, experience, and gear. I am not sure is the gear the armor that we obtained after killing the Uruk, or is it simply a gift for completing the mission. Once conquered, a new Overlord needs to be placed, and we can also notice that the level of the fortress has dropped, which means that it will be vulnerable to attacks at start. Any of the ally warchiefs can be placed as Overlord, and in this case the Uruk that helped us take down the Overlord received the honor. Each one of the warchiefs has a specific trait when made Overlord. The Marauder can pillage the region, which means that we will probably get points automatically in certain intervals. Having the Overlord allows us to increase the level of the fortress over time. It quite reminds of Mad Max in a way. You were able to improve the settlements in that game after conquering them, but of course the system is much more in depth, at least as far as I can notice. And that is all from this gameplay video that showcases the fortresses and the relations between Talion and the allies. It looks great and I hope it plays great. Thank you for watching and make sure to let me know what do you think about it. I have been Petard, your glorious lord, and may the blessings of Petardia eternally touch your butt.
This was just one step in our conquest of Mordor. One small example of the millions of unique stories players will create in Middle-earth: Shadow of War.